From politics to pop culture to sports, purple is being used to push an agenda that most people are completely unaware of. Stick around because what I'm about to reveal could change the way you see the world around you. Hey, I'm Marcus. 2 weeks ago, I led a members only live stream where I was spontaneously led to share the following. Okay, well, then that leads me to another insight that the Spirit brought this week. I was looking at some pictures from the Olympics. All of a sudden, the uniform for Team USA caught my eye because it's like purple. Usually, Team USA uniforms, the red and blue are distinct from one another, but this is purple. And then I looked at another picture and I remembered the track itself was purple. Then I realized something was being said. Look, this uniform is the same color as the track, and the track is purple. So what is being said? I'll show you what's being said. Hegelian Dialectic. It starts with a thesis, a starting understanding that may later be revealed as flawed or complex. Then there's an antithesis, a reaction that contradicts or negates the thesis. Think of it as red and blue. And then you have the synthesis, a resolution of the tension between the thesis and antithesis at a higher level of truth. That's the purple. So symbolically, you got the red, the thesis, the blue, the antithesis. Let's combine it into purple. Let's say we got a man and we got a woman. Let's combine it and do the transgender thing. We got these separate countries. Let's combine it into a one world government. That's the message that they're putting out there. The agenda of all agendas, and I got this months ago by the Spirit, is an agenda to blur the lines. An agenda to blur the lines. God is holy. What does holy mean? Holy means other than. It doesn't compare. It's separate. When we say we consecrate ourselves unto God, that means we are separate from the world. There are lines in the law. Don't cross this line. But the enemy's agenda is to blur those lines, if not eradicate the lines. What I just shared with you came by the Spirit. I was just looking at some pictures from the Olympics, saw the purple uniform, and then the very next picture, I saw a Team USA athlete in the purple uniform standing on the purple track. Hegelian Dialectic popped right into my head. That's their agenda. That's what they're trying to do. Now, a full week after that live stream, I received a spontaneous text from Amy. Here's what she said. There's a lady who God has given a ministry of deprogramming those who have gone through mind control / satanic ritual abuse. One of the mind control programs she discusses that has been rolled out is purple. Here's a link to one of her videos discussing the onset of the purple agenda. She shares the link, and then she goes on to say, please search photos of Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris wearing purple. Why would our political figures wear purple instead of our flag colors? It's because they're in on the mind control process and let those programs know what program is coming into play. The video also links Lady Gaga, which is likely why she performed at the Olympics. So I'm going to do a blind reaction to these videos right now. Let's see what she has to say.
Hi guys, Gina Phillips here. I promised you guys I would do a brief decode and catch you all up on the communications that were coming out at the inauguration. Pretty surprising how many people were wearing purple that day, huh? A lot of ex-presidents and presidents' wives and people all dressed in purple. And it does have significance. The first time we ever saw anybody in politics wearing this purple was when Hillary and Bill came out for the concession speech at 2016. And Hillary has the purple lapel and shirt. Bill has the purple tie. That was an activation of what the mind control victims that I deprogram have dubbed Into the World program. Purple is a very, very huge program, the Purple Into the World program that has many sub-programs in it that was activated.
She says it's the Purple End of the World program. If you don't know by now, we are living in the last days. I look at the last days as the end of the end times, and we're in the last days. It goes with what I was saying with the Hegelian dialectic. I mentioned the one world government, right? We know that's what's happening in the end. The book of Revelation, the beast system, the one world government, one world religion, one world everything. back to the Tower of Babel.
That was activated in 2016. It has 2 stages. So we've seen the first 4 years. It was activated by Hillary Clinton at the concession speech. She thought she was coming in as president, but they went on and activated it anyway. So it's 4 years after activation. That's stage 1, activation of the Purple program into the World program. And I believe we're seeing the beginning of the activation of stage 2, as we saw in the inauguration. And I'll get into the details of that in just a second. So you notice that it changed from just the lapels and the shirt to the women dressed in complete purple all the way. It's like we're going to stage 2. It's all purple. People will say, well, purple doesn't mean all that negative stuff. Purple means royalty in the Bible. And it totally does. Like, I totally believe and get the symbolism in the Bible of all of the redemptive symbols, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm saying what's happening in the enemy. We saw the females dressed in complete purple. I believe Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, all in purple.
Some might argue that one of these isn't quite purple. You might say, okay, Michelle Obama is in scarlet. And Revelation 17:4, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. Let's continue.
Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, all in purple. So let's talk about Kamala for a minute. I'm going to read from an article out of Town and Country. So Kamala is wearing all purple. She's wearing pearls. That's significant. The headline says, Kamala's pearls hold a deep significance. The vice president is sending a message with her jewelry. And she is. Pearls are the symbol of Kamala's sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha. Alpha Kappa Alpha is the first African-American Greek letter sorority. It talks about in the article that the founders of this sorority are called the 20 Pearls. And each member of this particular sorority, when they pledge, and are accepted, they get a badge with 20 pearls on their badge. And Kamala Harris calls her sorority her secret weapon. I don't know what that means, but that's pretty interesting. So we see here that pearls are an identifier with Kamala Harris. So, it's not just that she wore them that day. She represents Pearl. She identifies strongly with Alpha Kappa Alpha, her sorority. Pearls link her back to that. I saw other articles that I'm not going to quote where they were saying that people in the government were wearing purple because it represented unity. That when you have the red of Trump and the blue of the Democratic Party merging together, it forms purple, and that's unity. And I want you guys to know that's a code for programming. They always have the cover story for what it means, and it means that in programming as well.
She just said they always have a cover story. The way I've put it before is there's an exoteric meaning and an esoteric meaning. Exo, external, outside, or surface level, the meaning that's understood by the masses. Oh, purple means unity. And then there's the esoteric meaning, the hidden meaning, the under meaning that only a select few understand, and that's more sinister.
That I've told you, when a child is first programmed, they want to split and divide the mind so that you have the right brain and the left brain. And one side of the brain is color-coded red and one is blue. And they don't want both sides of the brain communicating to one another fully. It's a way of gaining control and putting in programming. And so people up until this point in time, going back at least 50 years, maybe longer, have had red and blue programming, and they've been told don't ever bring the two parts of the mind together to make purple. It's been a no-no. But they're beginning the very, very early stages right now of having the mind come together to activate into the world programming purple.
That just reminded me of something else I said in that members live stream, where I talked about how, first and foremost, Satan, the enemy, wants you to be an atheist. The next best thing for him is if you believe in something false. But what I said in that video is they eventually have to do away with atheism. All this time, Satan's number one thing that he wants is for you to not believe in God, not believe God exists, and therefore, in turn, you don't believe he exists. You don't believe in the spiritual world or anything. But they have to get away from that, because when the one world government comes, The beast system, guess what? There's a one world religion. There's a false prophet. There's a antichrist, which is supposed to be God on earth. And you can't be an atheist then if I need you to take this mark of the beast. So eventually they have to go against the rules that they initially set up.
It's not fully gone out yet, but they're saying let's line it up in the second stage of programming. It's going to cause the mind to come together and flood what's in both left and right, both blue and red brain. So this is true, and the article's going out. It does mean unity, but it's not talking about the people. It's talking about the programmed people. So I want to say, too, that Kamala Harris and Lady Gaga both represent Venus. It was said that Kamala symbolized Venus with the pearls and the outfit, but Lady Gaga does also. Note that Kamala has an all purple outfit on and she's wearing pearls, and Lady Gaga's wearing red and blue outfit and the dove. Kamala's going to represent the older and the elder Venus, or Aphrodite, and Gaga the younger. In Rome, she's called Venus, and in the Greek culture, she's called Aphrodite, but it's the same entity. I also want to throw in there that she is our Lady Liberty. We're made to believe Lady Liberty represents freedom, constitutional freedom for all the people that come here. No, that's a great big French-made goddess.
The Statue of Liberty is a French-made goddess. That made me think of the logo of the Olympics, which was in Paris, France, as you likely know. Now, in this logo, you can of course see a woman in this flame, the lips here, the Statue of Liberty holding a torch, French-made goddess, as she put it, Paris.
We'll do a deep dive and look her up and see who she is. The liberty that she represents is sexual liberty. She's the patron of prostitutes, the sacred prostitution where you have ritual prostitutes. Our Lady Liberty represents sexual freedom. She's associated with sexual desire and passion and procreation. And the symbols of this goddess are doves and pearls. She has other symbols, but that's why you're seeing pearls around the neck of Kamala Harris. That's why you're seeing the dove, the huge dove on Lady Gaga. If you look at Jill Biden, her dress neckline had pearls, is that they are representing that entity, Aphrodite. So according to Plato, there's two different forms of Aphrodite. And I believe that's what Kamala and Gaga represents, those two different forms of Aphrodite. The elder form of Aphrodite, the spiritual, the god entity, and she's called Aphrodite Urania. And so that's what Kamala Harris represents. And then the younger form of Aphrodite is the earthly, the more common form of Aphrodite, and she's called Aphrodite Pandemos. So you've got the younger Gaga. She is just like a young, newly programmed child. They have their mind split into the red and the blue at the very beginning. You've got Gaga wearing the red and blue dress with the dove, showing she's still Aphrodite. And in the beginning programs, you have the mind split, and she's the younger. And she also is to the common man. She represents the commoner's form of Aphrodite. But we're moving into the maturity, red and blue coming together to form purple. And so you have Kamala wearing all purple. She represents the elderly, mature form of Aphrodite, Aphrodite Urania. She also represents the god, the spiritual form. And so she's giving the calm, begin to blend together the red and the blue to form purple in your programming.
I just said I saw it on a micro level. Maybe I need to reverse that. I saw it on a macro level. She's speaking more on a micro level. She's speaking about individuals being programmed and conditioned by this.
Common people, the average Joe. Okay, and she did not activate turn purple yet, only the leadership. The leadership is going to have some very specific roles to play in the future, but we're letting you know Aphrodite's rising. Aphrodite is what you're dealing with here. You're activating the programming in the people, and you're bringing this entity front and center as a leader to begin to do what this entity does. So you're going to see a lot more about the sexual perversion, sexual freedom, do whatever you want. And some of you guys may remember in the Bible in Corinth, It's where our book Corinthians, 2 books Corinthians come from. Corinth was known back in the times of Paul as being the place where the most skilled and most expensive prostitutes were. Remember, Gaga was wearing the dove symbol, another symbol of Aphrodite. The enemy, the cabal, the Illuminati, when they show the dove, it's the Antichrist dove. It's not biblical, godly Christian peace. It's the peace that the Antichrist is going to bring. That's their nod. They want the peace to be able to do their rituals, to do their pedophilia. That's their freedom. That's their peace.
All right, so that's part 1. Part 2.
Gina Phillips here. I wanted to do part 2 of the 2021 Purple Inauguration Decode. Hillary and Bill Clinton, when she gave her concession speech in 2016, and she came out with the purple lapel and shirt and Bill the purple tie, how they activated part 1 of what we call the Purple Revolution. And, ensuing shortly after that, we had the purple washing the city in Minneapolis with Justin Timberlake's tribute to Prince, and the purple Emmy Awards carpet that year instead of the red carpet. So we talked about how we had moved from the initial inauguration in 2016, where some of the clothing was purple with Hillary Clinton, and now we've moved to the ladies wearing all purple. They set into motion the second phase of the Purple Revolution, and that's a time framed thing. They have locked themselves into a time frame of the beginning of this purple plan that will eventually usher in their Antichrist New World System. So it's a lock-in. It's a time limiting. There's no turning back for them. It's a go. They have to play it out. There'll be different plays that they can alter within it, but they have activated their New World Order plan by going all purple. With the people dressed all in purple, it reminds me of the Whore of Babylon. She also wears pearls, like Aphrodite. She wears other gems, but the Bible specifically calls out and names pearls. And she's called the Whore of Babylon. She wears purple and she rides the scarlet beast. It makes me wonder if Aphrodite as an entity is the Whore of Babylon.
That's who's being spoken of in the Revelation 17:4 verse that I shared earlier.
And the Whore of Babylon, she sits on the 7 hills, which are those 7 mountains that we see in programming. The 7 mountains are the 7 influences of our culture, like government and media, arts and entertainment, business and money is a mountain, education, religion, and family. And so the whore sits on those mountains. And in Revelation 17 there, it says that the hills are also equated to 7 heads of the beast, where she rules. And the 7 heads are like 7 rulers. So we do know from the Kabbalah that there is a ruler and a hierarchy on the top of each of these 7 mountains, but sitting on the top of them is the Mystery Babylon, the Whore of Babylon. Today I'm going to pull in HRC with this, because she too was wearing all purple. If you notice, HRC and Kamala were both wearing the same shade of purple. We saw varying colors of purple in the other women leadership, but Kamala and HRC had the same shade of purple, and that's for a particular reason. I want to show you a clip from a movie called The Cell. This clip is going to show what the inner programming looks like in the mind's eye of the elite who are being activated right now.
Lopez, that is insane, because when I was making the thumbnail for this video and I was thinking, who do I want to include on the thumbnail, there was only one celebrity that I thought to search specifically, and I searched Jennifer Lopez in purple. I haven't seen this movie. There was no real reason for me to search that, but that's what I thought to search. So it's crazy now that I'm seeing this clip from this movie, and it's apparently starring Jennifer Lopez. As a bonus, I want to share another clip from the members only live stream. I ended up sharing a dream that I've had recently pertaining to the UK or Great Britain. And as you saw earlier, both the USA and Great Britain had purple looking uniforms. So check out this clip as a bonus. I'll share a dream. I had recently, and I shared this with Boomy and Sharon from Now Daily Bread, because I believe it pertains to the UK, but also to the US. All right, so I was at a table. I might have been at a restaurant, but I was at a table with like 2 or 3 other people. And one of the people at the table mentioned either the UK or London. And when they mentioned it, I said to them, London is a very Muslim city. And the person who mentioned London or the UK agreed. Now, the person who had brought up London, they mentioned this famous griddle cake like sandwich. If you think of like the McGriddle at McDonald's, right? But there was this famous griddle cake sandwich that is based in the UK, right? So it started at this restaurant in the UK and it became very popular. And now it had come over to the US. And so the person was telling me, oh, you can get this griddle cake sandwich here in the US now. And so when I did some research, griddle cakes originated in the UK. And I remember in the dream, I saw the logo of the restaurant and I tried to recreate it. And I did so much research trying to find a restaurant that has a similar logo. It was like a blue border on top, a red border in the bottom, and then white text in the middle. That was this restaurant's logo. Long story short, the central part of the dream is London being a very Muslim city, which I don't know if it is right now, but Boomy said it does look like it's trending in that direction. And then also the fact that this cake, griddle cake, if you want to be specific, but cake was now in the US. This thing that originated in the UK was now in the US. I feel like there's something to that. I don't know if that's like saying, hey, London being a very Muslim city, that could come to the US if we're not prayerful, if we're not careful, or if it's a different connection. I'm not sure. Comment down below and let me know what you think. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe if you're new. Be blessed.
The woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.